Hello, this is Chris Menard. Today is part 3 of 3 of Get and Transform Data in Microsoft Excel. I'm going to use the Power Query Editor. In part 1 of 3, I took this data right here, 12 months running across, so I've got 13 columns. This needed to be 3 columns. It needed to be products, months, and then the values, and I converted that. Part 2 of 3 last week, I have 2 header rows here, which is really bad. East and West region, quarters 1 through 4 for both. And I converted that to the data you see over on the right-hand side, region, quarter, car manufacturer, K through N. That is what I did with the Power Query Editor. Now today, I'm going to take this data, and I see people sending me stuff like this all the time. So I do have 1 header row, which is good. The problem is someone didn't type in the state of Georgia. They just left it as 1 person, 1 state. They did the same with Florida, New York, California in this example. They also came in here and put the word total. If you look in the formula bar, the formula is correct. It is for Florida. So the data is correct. The problem is, again, I can't sort, subtotal, pivot table. And just to prove that, if I go and right click and try to sort A to Z, that is obviously incorrect. So I'm going to undo. If I try to filter this data, I only want to filter by Georgia. Notice it has 3 states. Notice it has 3 cities. But I want to filter only by GA. Well, I just get 1. And I'm not going to do it, but subtotals won't work, and neither will pivot tables. So let's go ahead and use Get and Transform Data and the Power Query Editor to fix this. I'm going to highlight my data and make it a table. Mac or PC, it's Control-T is the keyboard shortcut. I do have a header row. I'm going to click OK. Data tab. I have a group over to the far left called Get and Transform Data. From Table Range is correct. Click it. The Power Query Editor will appear. And it does. It actually picked up the header row correctly because the header row was correct in my table. When I did part 2 of 3, when I had 2 header rows, I had to go in there and tweak that part. This one's okay. The first thing I'm going to do here is get rid of those nulls. I'm going to right click the word state. I have an option to fill. In my example, I need to fill down. I had an executive MBA student ask me if it was possible to fill up, and I showed him this yesterday that yes, you could fill up if you needed to, but I need to fill down. So there's that. Now I have a big issue. The issue is because someone did the totals, I don't need those totals. I'll get my totals when I do a pivot table or subtotals. So I'm just going to simply, I notice that they show up here in the first column, which is state. I'm going to hit the arrow for filter. I am going to turn off total. Click OK. I'm hoping, by the way, to get 12 rows, in case you're wondering why I should get 12 rows. And I do. Back in my data, column D, if I go from Atlanta to Fresno, that is 12 cities. 3, 5, 8, 12. I could have highlighted them and got that, but I'm just counting it for you. I wanted to prove that I can count, in case you're wondering. Anyway, so everything looks really good here. Let's see what happens. I'm still in the Home tab. Close and load. Close and load to. I'm going to throw it into a new worksheet right now, but I'll come back and just put it right here. So I should get a new worksheet at the bottom. I do. Let me copy. And I will paste Close that. So if you take a look, I'm just checking some numbers. GA is now in there 3 times. I still got the same cities: Atlanta, Brookhaven, Smyrna. I'm looking at the numbers. They are correct. So that is how get and transform data using the Power Query editor. You fix data. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great weekend.